Hi, everybody. It's like we're getting some
Hi,
people.
Professor Brennan.
Hi.
Hi.
Howdy. There's a Markayla and a Michaela. That's cool. Try and keep that straight. Okay, look at this. A lot of people coming on time. That's great. It's three classes. I'm going to probably get started pretty close to on time because I'm going to be sending this out over a recording to everybody in all three classes, in all three of my 1A classes. So if people can't come today, and this is true for any of the Zooms, like we're going to do a Zoom on the English, the education essay, we'll do a Zoom on the race essay. Those are the two big essays we have coming up. We'll do a Zoom to help you prepare for it. And if you can't make it, you know, if you're working or something, don't worry. You can get the recorded Zoom, which I will send out to you. But it's also great. You know, I love seeing all you guys here because if you have any particular questions, then you can ask them. As I go through this, if you have any questions, just make sure you just speak up, interrupt me. Of course, you're going to have to take yourself off mute in order to do that. Just interrupt me and we will try to answer your questions as we go along, or I will. Okay, so I'm just going to get started. So in order to do that, I'm going to share my screen because what I want to do is I want to go through all of the different preparatory elements in the module that are going to really help you be able to do this summary well. And it's really tricky. I'm telling you, this is the most complicated piece of writing that we're going to be having all semester long. So if you are having trouble understanding it, I don't blame you and I'm not surprised. The first time I read it, I had trouble understanding it and I had to read it several times. Well, that's one of the lessons here, is that sometimes in order for us to be able to understand something, you don't get it the first time. You have to read it 2, 3, 4 times. I remember when I was in graduate school, I'd be reading some of these philosophers, these really complicated people, and I'd read a paragraph, and I swear they were writing it so that we wouldn't be able to understand it. You know, it was so complicated. And then I'd read it maybe 5, 6, 7 times, and then it would start to seep in a little bit of what was going on. Well, this isn't that tough. It's not that tough, but still, it's really going to help you a lot to read it several times and also to be present when we do this tutorial, but also to utilize the elements in the module that are going to really help you, because I've got some really good support built into the module, and I'm going to show you what I've got. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so here we are in week number 2, and here is the summary, the unit number 1, the summary. So here in the first video assignment, I talked to you about the importance of doing summaries. Why are we doing a summary at the beginning of a class? Because a lot of times in English classes, they'll have you jump right into doing an essay, so they feel like they need to get you started right away. Well, the reason that, and I mentioned this in that video, is the reason we do summaries is that it's a really good tool for you to be able to learn how to improve your reading skills and writing skills both at the same time. So it's extremely good for that. So here's the summary prompt, and here's where you're going to read about this particular article by Henry Louis Gates Jr. And then I've got, by the way, here's his biography. Very interesting biography of him as a person. He's a very well-respected professor from Harvard. Did I hear a question there? No? Okay, a very respected professor in ethnic studies, I believe, at Harvard. So you could read about his biography. And then we've got the actual reading that you're going to be doing a summary of. And it talks about when the rough draft is due. The rough draft is due February 7th. So you guys still have plenty of time before the rough draft is due. That's why I wanted to do this a little bit early, to give you a chance to get a sense of it. So then there's the annotation assignment that a lot of you did, and quite a few of you did well. And in this annotation assignment, I tried to steer you towards here where I say attention for annotation. The terms to focus on are liberals, no left for the other side as it applies to liberals and extremists, muscular humanism, moral relatives in isolation, et cetera, et cetera. Well, the reason I tried to gear you into these terms is because that's how we're going to structure our summary around definitions of the terms. Those are what are the main points in the summary. So if you understand these terms and you can express them in your own words, then you're going to do a good job on the summary. The trick is being able to organize it in a way that flows well so that you're not writing something that's a page and a half or 2 pages long. Because sometimes if people give me something that's a page and a half or 2 pages long, that means they're circling around and around and around. They're going back and forth and back and forth, and they're repeating and repeating because they're not really allowing themselves to move from one thing to the next in a way that makes sense. For example, if I were to introduce the beginning of my essay, or my summary, excuse me, the beginning of my summary, I want to make sure that I'm using a pattern, and it talks about that. There's a section in here about using a pattern. I could use an according to pattern or an in pattern. If I want to use the trickier of the two, an according to pattern, I would say according to Henry Louis Gates Jr. Everybody mute, please, so that you were not getting all this extraneous noise. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to start over again. According to Henry Louis Gates Jr., in A Liberalism of Heart and Spine, being careful about all the details there, about spelling his name, what's capitalized in the title, how is it represented, is it italicized, is it in quotes? Well, it's supposed to be in quotes because it's a shorter work, not a longer work. And all of this is explained to you on the patterns, the using quotations handout. So let me start again. According to Henry Louis Gates Jr., in A Liberalism of Heart and Spine, liberals are very weak. They don't stand up for things that are important for the majority of the people in the United States, people that they should actually be trying to support the most. Boom. That's an expression of what I think, I'm hoping that you're going to use for an expression of his thesis. It's about liberals and the fact that they're too weak and they don't stand up for things that are important. So from there, I might decide, well, I've got this already, so I might decide I'm going to go to muscular humanism. Rather than being weak, what Gates would prefer liberals do is to be strong and to express a certain amount of heart for things, empathy. He calls this muscular humanism. You can put that in quotes, no caps. So now I've got muscular humanism out of the way. So where do I go from that? I might say, well, instead they sort of pick on these pet topics of theirs and sort of isolate themselves into this little corner where nobody else is going to be but themselves. He calls that moral isolationism, right? So I've gone from one to the next to the next. So that's the way I want you to think about it, is how am I going to allow the thing that I do before to inform the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing. So that by the time you get done, which is probably good to maybe finish on the two politics identity and politics identification, because that's kind of where he winds up. Then you're going to be done. Okay? So this is the annotation assignment, and quite a few of you are working really well with, annotating Word documents and uploading them well. So I did send out that tutorial a while ago. So I had somebody help me in my English 5 class. So you guys should be able to now use Word documents to annotate on, because on the readings that we have in this class, it's important that you're able to annotate them, because it's the most efficient way of using your time wisely, is to annotate as you're doing the reading. That way you're going to be an engaged reader, you're going to pay attention, you're not going to drift off, you're not going to fall asleep, all those kinds of things. And then when you go back to the reading, you're going to be annotating for a particular purpose in mind. For all of your classes, hopefully you're going to do this, and whatever that purpose is, you're going to be able to utilize the reading without having to go through it all over again from scratch and start reading it, because when you're doing the essays for this class, they're reading-based essays. So you need to draw from the reading for support. So you want to be thinking about what you're going to annotate for, so that you can bring that in for support for whatever points that you want to make. So it really makes a lot of sense. It's really saves you a lot of time to annotate so that you can use whatever you've done. So that's why I focus so much on the in the class on annotation. But people, a certain number of people, maybe 3 or 4 people, were really having a lot of trouble uploading those Word docs. And now that I sent out that tutorial, hopefully you're going to be able to figure out how to do that, how to access Word in your Outlook email, and how to download. First then you're going to do it up there in Word in there, and then you're going to download it to your computer, and then you can just upload it and submit it as an assignment. However, I have opened it up so that now you can submit PDFs. So if you, for some reason, you can't do that, then you could still do your you could compose your essay in Google Docs. You could download it as a PDF, and then you could upload it as a PDF. So trying to hit on all levels here, so people, everybody will be able to do this without spending a lot of time spinning your wheels with all this IT stuff. Because people have been, spending hours and hours trying to figure out how to do this stuff, and I hate that. I don't want you guys to be doing that. I want you to be doing things that are important for learning, not just trying to get something to work. That can be extremely frustrating. Okay, so summary quiz assignment. I did this so that you guys would get a chance to work on what is a summary. That's the first 5 questions. And then in the last 5 questions, it's a reading comprehension thing. So I'm, just touching the surface on trying to get you guys to focus in on, what do the terms mean? So all the different terms are listed in there. So this is your first chance to express what you think about the terms. So I'm not grading these really toughly, because I know that you haven't had a chance to really discuss this. I haven't had a chance to really fill you in on it in terms of what these terms mean, and they're very complicated. So if you're doing your best on that, I'm trying to give you credit for that. Okay, so here's a very important document here, using quotations. And I talk about it here and I introduce it here. And there's actually a tutorial on this later on in this, but here's the using quotations handout. And it's a very important handout that you really need to be aware of as the semester goes along. You need to know that if you've got a longer work, then it's going to be underlined or italicized, like you see here. That's going to be novels or epic poems or movies or magazines, all those things. They're going to be either italics or underlined. It's really more elegant to have it be in italics now that we have computers. It used to be when we had typewriters that you had to underline it. It's the only way you could do it. And then down here it says, I can't highlight that, yes I can. You put quotation marks around titles of essays, articles, short stories, etc. Shorter works, you put quotations around. So there are 2 different patterns, as I mentioned, and I introduced in the, actually introduced this in the diagnostic essay, and quite a few of you actually use these in your diagnostic essay. I was very pleased to see that you're getting a head start on it. So these are the examples of how you use the in pattern. Notice with the in pattern, it's in, and then it's people who do things. It's never articles that claim. An article can't claim anything because an article or a book, it's just a piece of paper. It's always people that make claims or people who write or people that argue. Same thing with the according to pattern. It's never according to an article. It's always according to people. So here's where you do this. These are like a jigsaw puzzle. For all the different things that we're going to be working with semester, you're just going to fit everything in like it's a jigsaw puzzle. For example, with this one, in title, A Liberalism of Heart and Spine. Author, Henry Louis Gates Jr. claims, and then we're going to put a quotation or a paraphrase claim, because these are good for both quotations and paraphrase things. According to Henry Louis Gates Jr. in A Liberalism of Heart and Spine. Then we're going to paraphrase, obviously, because we can't use quotes. I just want to mention this while I'm thinking of it. No quotations in our summary, except for the quotations that are around the terms. Now you can put those in quotes or not. I'm not going to complain if you don't have those in quotes, but it might make sense to put the terms in quotations. But nowhere else do I want to see you trying to use quotations to do your annotating for you. I want to make sure that you actually understand these things and that you can express it yourself. Now, later references. This is a very important thing as the semester goes along for you to be aware of. Later references. So I would annotate this if I could in here, but later references, once you introduce it the first time, so in your summary, the first time you introduce it is going to be in the first sentence, in the first line of your summary, you're going to introduce it with a first reference, like we just talked about. Then after that, it's always going to be last name only, and you're never, even in your conclusion, you're never going to mention the title of that article again. Never going to mention A Liberalism of Heart and Spine again. If you want to, refer to the article, you can say in Gates's article, he, like that. And then that's all going to be later reference. Okay, now the rest of this handout, there's some other stuff in this handout that's important, but I've kind of gone over the important things that you should be aware of. So here's the tutorial on introducing quotations. So this is an actual tutorial where I go through this very specifically, and I teach it so that if you need a refresher on this, and then I'll show you exactly how to do it. It's a very cool tutorial that if you guys have been watching my tutorials, you see that, if anything's really small, I can zoom in on it and all that stuff. So very professionally done tutorial. So this is a very helpful tutorial on that particular aspect of using quotations. Okay, so see this must watch here? I put that in there when I really try to get your attention to something. And in here, I go into all the different terms, all the different things that you need to do for your summary. What's the summary thesis? How to open. Now, I don't want you to copy or to do, use my words either. I don't want you to use Gates' words or my words. This is just if you don't really know what no love is from both perspectives. Like we've got a no love from the liberals and we got a no love for the other side on the extremists. Basically, it's that he claims that liberals express no love for the other side because they just don't care enough to do anything. But it's different with the extremists because they're actually haters. Liberals don't hate, extremists are haters. That's the big difference between the no love for the two different groups. The two morals, moral relativism, moral isolationism, those are two of the more complex ones. And then the two politics, I explain those two. So just so that you know, those are all explained just how I would teach it if I were in a classroom face to face with you. Alrighty, so I've gone through all the different elements that I have in here for you. And then turn in your rough draft here, due February 7th. Try to get this in on time. It's important to get this in on time. And the reason is that I'm going to grade it. I grade all of these rough drafts because a lot what I used to do in class is I'd have a class where I'd get students together to work in peer groups on it, and they would do their own work based on the checklist, and they would get together and they would help each other with the checklist to see whether or not they've done the things that are required. So if you see the summary checklist here, this is what I'm going to be grading on. So make sure you go through this and you apply all the different elements in this checklist to your own summary before you turn it in. Okay? Because here are all the terms. You need to decide for yourself, is this done? And then what I'll do when you turn it in, what I'll do is I will grade it for you and I'll get it back to you. And you'll get, there's actually a rubric down here on whether you do the different things that are required, and you get a certain number of points for doing these things. I'll get it back to you and let you know how you're doing on it. And then if you get it to me on time, then you'll get it back with you to have enough time to do the final draft on it. Está bien? Okay, so then after you do that, then you're going to turn in the final draft. And this isn't due until February 10th. And I put the date that it's due here because this goes to February 7th. So I make sure that everybody knows it's due February 10th. So we're going to be in the 10th, but it's not down here. It's actually up here. So you're going to have to zoom back up here, even though you're down here. So make sure that you don't forget that it's actually in this week, February 10th, February 10th. Okay, so that's everything that I want to say. How about you guys? Any questions from the classes? Any questions? Did I really cover everything? My goodness.
I have a question.
Yes, question, yes.
I saw, let's say, on week 2.
Mm-hmm. You want me to share the screen again?
No, I got it. On the lecture watch. So
Must watch, yes.
Yeah, the due date is February 5th or 5. Do we need to turn in anything in here, or we just watching that one?
No, with the videos and the readings, there's never actually anything to turn in. It's just I want you to do that by that particular day.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Now, what do I have the due date for the must watch thing? Is February 5th. Yeah. So that's before you do your rough draft. So yeah, you know, and anytime you want to do something beforehand, I mean, you don't have to wait until the due date to do something. Because I've graded a few rough drafts already. I've got some.
But do we need to turn it in?
Hmm?
Do we need to turn that in too, or no?
Yeah, you need to turn in the rough draft. There's nothing to turn in with the videos. This
I know, but where do I submit it? Because they don't have the submit link. So where do I need to send it?
There's going to be a submit for you guys when you open this up, down at the bottom or at the top, one of the two. When you guys open this up, there's going to be a submit button. So you just need to find the submit button and submit it that way. Oh, okay. It doesn't appear on mine because I'm the instructor on the class, but for students, it's going to show up. You want me to show you where it would be? Because I can show you.
Please.
Yeah, hold on a second. Let me go back here.
Because I don't think it's so.
Go to student view.
It doesn't show on mine, so.
Okay, well, let me just make sure it's there. I don't want there to be any mistakes. Okay, so now you're seeing the student view. I'm going to go to the modules. And I'm going to go down to where it's due. Down here. Okay, there it is. Boom, up at the top.
I'm talking about the due date, like the video due date. So on that day we watch that one, and then just following down whenever they have submit assignment, I submitted that, right? So right. I don't have to submit on the file that.
There's nothing to submit. There's nothing to submit. You just need to do it.
I got it.
Not submit it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's clear.
Well, it's good for me to see. I'm glad that submit assignment is there.
Right.
So it makes me feel more comfortable.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Professor.
No problem. Any other questions I can clear up? No
I have a
question?
question, but it's
Oh,
kind of
good.
not pertaining to that, but it's after like class.
It's what?
It's after class.
After
Class.
class.
Yeah.
You want to wait and ask me privately?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. This is Michelle. Who is
Yeah.
speaking? It's Michelle. What
Michelle.
I'll do is I'll close down this Zoom, and I'll say goodbye to everybody, and then I will reopen it and for a new Zoom, and I'll be back into the Zoom in a matter of a minute after I close down the class Zoom. Sound good?
Okay. Okay.
Good. Any other questions for me or the class in general?
Yes, Prof. I have a question, but I think it's not for this particular summary. It is for the next one because I didn't get the full question or something.
You didn't get Emmanuel. What's your question again?
No, I said I have a question, but it's pertaining the next, like the education.
Oh, in the education essay section?
Yeah, something like that. Because I didn't get the question. Like I'm not sure of, almost the whole models, like the units, all have different questions. So I don't know which one in particular is the question.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me go back to leave student view. I'm gonna share my screen again. So I can maybe get down to where you are and we can clarify what your question is. Other people may have the same question. So going down to the education section.
Yeah.
This part right here?
Yes, the I don't know which of them is for the assignment, because if you click the first one, the rough draft or something.
Oh, the rough draft is not going to be due till it's not due on anything that you can see yet. If you want to see when something, how you want to see what the semester looks like in terms of the whole semester, go up here to student orientation, because I only release these modules. I give you a couple weeks ahead of time. But if you want to see what's going on in the semester, you can go up here and you can see the whole semester when things are due for every week in the semester. So Emmanuel, if you want to see what's headed up in week 4, week 5, week 6, it shows you all of that here. But I
No,
don't show it to you yet until I actually publish those modules. Is that what you're talking about?
no, I mean, like if you open the week 3 for the education essay, you see a part where it says make connections between corporations and education system. Education system, how does privatizing education help the rich and hurt the poor? Like that's for the first question. Then the second one, there's as if there's another question entirely. Like I don't know which one is for the essay.
All of this stuff is for the essay. Everything you see here, after week number 3, we're moving away from the summaries, and everything we're going to be doing is going to be preparation for writing that education essay. And all of the different things here are very important, including something we've had already, which is introduce authors in your essays, essay organization chart. This is really important because this is going to help you to actually organize your essay, anatomy of a college level essay. All of these things are important for you to be aware of when you write your essay, but they don't really have due dates on them because they're resources for you. It's
Okay,
not really something that I'm asking you to do on a particular date. And
all right.
then after that, then we start getting involved in, actually working through the due dates and what's due. But I suggest that everybody actually go through these and take a look at them so you know what's going on, especially this essay organization chart, because this, what it does is it allows you to, or encourages you to actually organize your essay as you're going along. Rather than wait till the end, you may not know what your thesis statement is. Be thinking about it. Be thinking about what your topics are going to be. Be thinking about, as you're going through the reading, if you find something and you can organize it as you're going along. But this is just like, people talk about outlines. This is what I think of as an outline, a very simple form of an outline. This is a very important resource for you that I encourage you all to use as you go along. I'm not sure whether I answered your question, Emmanuel, but I hope. I'm just trying to talk over a lot of the different things. And then this is, of course, I always say, watch first, read and watch first. I've got a tutorial in here. I've got a lecture in here, and then this is the assignment. So it's all, I always give my assignments early so the student's going to know, what they're going to be doing, so that you know what to annotate for, that kind of a thing. So it's extremely important that when you're doing an essay assignment, that you actually do the required elements in the essay. And that's why this is such an important document, that you read this very carefully before you actually embark on the reading for this essay.
Yeah, so Prof, the last one with the February 14th is actually the essay, right?
To submit the essay itself?
Yeah, this is the last one. I mean, the discussion post.
No, this is just a discussion. This discussion post, all these discussion posts, they're discussion based on readings or videos that you have up above. This is due February 14th. This is based on these videos and readings. All the discussion posts are based on the videos and readings that come before. The actual essay turn-in is not until way up here. All of these discussions, they're based on things that we're reading or watching. And you'll see that when you go into the assignment. It will explain it inside of the assignment. And then here in week number 8, here's where we're going to turn in the rough draft and the final draft of the education essay. So we got a lot of time before we're actually going to be turning in the essay. So don't get ahead of yourself. Don't think that you got to write this thing as soon as you read the essay prompt. You got to be paying attention to all of the different, assignment due dates that are in there. For example, when I give this prompt, I say essay rough draft due March 17th, just so that people know that this is way in the future, March 17th.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's good.
I'm glad you brought that up, because we haven't done the discussion post yet. And it's really important that people know exactly how this works. But if you go into this discussion post, on the assignment for it, it says, write a 2-page, write a discussion, 250 main connections between corporate education system. How does privatizing, and all of this has to do with what we just read and watched in the assignments. Sometimes it's a little bit more clear in terms of exactly what, but once you do the reading and videos, then you're going to know what all this has to do with. Of course, you can't do a discussion until you do the assignments that lead up to it.
Okay. All right.
Very good. I'm really glad you brought that up. Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I have a question.
Okay.
Can we do some of these readings as a class?
No. This you need to get good at doing reading on your own. There's not going to be any, you mean have a discussion or something as a class on the readings?
Yeah.
Or actually do the readings? No, we're not. I mean, if you ever wanted to, if you ever wanted to discuss something on a Zoom or something like that, it's possible we could do that. But generally speaking, everything in the class is done within the actual shell itself.
Okay.
And the discussions are actually designed to help you to sort of get at the things that you need to get at in the reading. The other thing that's really good, since you mentioned that, is that when you respond to your classmates in the discussions, then that's one of the ways that you actually interact with other people in the class to find out what their take on the readings and the videos were, so you can see what other people thought about them, and then you can respond to them. That's why I require that everybody do 2 responses. Every time you post a discussion, you're supposed to do 2 responses to discussion posts that 2 of your classmates make. So that's a way of interacting with your classmates on readings and videos. So That's how it works, and it works really well. Students always tell me that they really got a lot out of doing those responses and reading what other people had to share. I'm getting some great questions here. Anything else? No? Okay, so I'm gonna close this out. And I'm going to send this out to everybody as soon as they provide it to me. Some with a longer one like this, it takes them maybe, half an hour to get it to me to process it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the Zoom right after we close out and for the private Zoom. Okay. So thank you all for coming.
Somebody still has a question, I think.
Okay. Question.
Yeah, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, a little bit. I can still just barely hear you.
Okay. So for the summary assignment today,
Mhm.
like on the page, there's no like submission. And I don't see like where the questions are either, because if you open like the PDF, it just has like the handout, but I don't see the like questions.
Alfeo, I just went to that. I went into the student view, and then I went into where you're supposed to submit your rough draft, and I showed where the submit button is. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but this is the quiz assignment for today. That's a different thing, right?
Yeah, the quiz assignment. Yeah, that's a different thing, but it's also got a submit button for that.
Oh, well, I don't, oh wait, I do see it now. Hold on. Okay. Where are the questions though?
The questions for the, this is the, you're talking about the quiz now. The
Are they on the handout?
Yeah, hold on a second. It explains it actually in the assignment itself.
Okay.
So I'm going to share my screen again. And I'll see if we can't find that. Up here. You're talking about the summary quiz assignment, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it talks about it here. It says you will need to read this handout on how to write a summary. To take the summary quiz here. This is where you do it. You click on this, and it says download the quiz from a Google Doc to a Word doc and do the answers right on the document for upload and submit. So this is what you're going to open. And this opens in Google Docs. This is the actual quiz. So you're going to open it with Google Docs or with Microsoft Word, however you want to do it, because you can upload it as a PDF file if you want. And then you're going to answer it right on the document itself. So if you open it with Google Docs, then you can, presumably you can type in it. You can just answer it right there. Is the summary written in your own words? What do you guys think? Yes or no?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Simple answers. Simple answers. I'm giving you number one. Nobody's going to miss number one who's in this class. Who gets this? So that's how you do it. Then you download it to Microsoft Word or to PDF file and then submit.
Okay. Can I share my screen real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
What
Hold
I
on, let me
see,
get out of here.
I see something. I see something different for some reason on the assignment instead of that document. Hold on. Okay. Can you see this?
Yeah, I sure can.
So when I open like one of these, actually, can you let me see. Can you see this now?
Yeah.
Okay. Like it doesn't have those questions.
No, it's not there. This
Oh,
is
it's not?
this is what you need to use to figure out how to answer questions 1 through 5, Alfeo. This handout teaches you what a summary is like. That handout teaches you what a summary is like. And then the next handout is the actual quiz itself. And then there's another one then the last 5 questions is based on the Liberalism of Heart and Spine
Oh,
article
I see
itself.
that now. Okay, sorry.
That's okay, no problem. All set?
Yeah.
Taking all questions? Okay, great. So I'll see you guys later. Thanks a lot for coming. Bye.
Bye, Professor.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
You're welcome. You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.